And before we say goodbye to our viewers for today, let us once more look at what could make it easier to do business in Georgia and what are our strategic partners like the US supporting in Georgia's economic development.
Yes, Georgi, we already know how USAID helps, for example, those villages that live near the so-called borders due to Russian occupation and who struggle to draw nearly any investment. So there has been this effort to support startups there to help the marginalized economy breathe more. Two main emphases of this interview that we will be watching in a minute with Mr. Peter Wiebler, Mission Director of USAID-Georgia, is first on the USAID strategy side, since it is changing due to COVID, among other factors. And the second is on the recent expansion of the economic security program with 5.2 million USD for Georgia. For more, here is Peter Wiebler with optimistic focus on opportunities rather than challenges. Let's start with the USAID's new strategy. What does this new strategy entail, and what is the impact of COVID-19 on this new strategy?
We at USAID have been working hard, and we recently launched a new 5-year strategy for our assistance and partnership with Georgia. Specifically, we're looking to do 3 things. One is to strengthen Georgia's resilience to counter external malign influences. That could be helping to fight against misinformation, could be strengthening energy security, could be growing the economy and building it in a way that diversifies Georgia's modernizing economy so that it's not so reliant on certain things like, for example, agricultural exports to one market or to tourism from primarily one market or from abroad. As we've seen during the pandemic, tourism in particular is vulnerable to a pandemic circumstance, and as we've seen, the results of this sort of stoppage of external foreign tourism into Georgia has really hurt the country. So there's a need to not move away from tourism, but to expand the economy so that there are other sources of employment and growth. Lastly, I think we're going, but not least, we're continuing and we're deepening our emphasis on strengthening Georgia's democratic institutions and processes. We've seen a lot of progress in Georgia over 25 years, almost 30 years now, but there's still a ways to go.
You also recently announced 5.2 million expansion to the economic security program. Economy being one of the main emphasis for us and also for Georgia, and this is also to support Georgia's private sector so that it recovers from COVID-19. What are the main priorities here?
We have tried to respond and support our Georgian partners in a variety of ways since the pandemic hit. Part of that was emergency assistance to organizations like the WHO, like UNICEF, like the International Federation of the Red Cross and Georgian Red Cross, to provide emergency assistance to Georgia's citizens who are most in need, and also to help them with critical medical infrastructure to try to essentially help battle the pandemic. What we've also done is take and expand a number of our ongoing programs like economic security, which is a major USAID initiative looking at trying to support and grow high-value jobs in the non-agricultural sector. So in partnership with the government of Georgia, we're increasing our assistance to innovative economic sectors, which are going to be maybe the future of the country's economy, like e-commerce, light manufacturing, information technology. I think one of the things that is easy to lose sight of as we talk about the pandemic is that there's a lot of discussion and focus on the economic damage, but there's less discussion about the economic opportunity. Even though a lot of people are hurting, maybe there are ways for Georgia's businesses and its major economic sectors to, let's, as I say, leapfrog ahead and really enter into kind of a next generation of economic growth that creates high-value jobs for more Georgians to help support their families and their communities.
What is the approach to the agriculture sector as well? Because what we've seen from COVID-19 as well is that it might pose some threat to globalization, that it might bring more closed economies, that countries might have to self-rely or become more self-sustainable. So what is approaching that? Because the government sees the agriculture sector as one of the sectors where it can achieve these goals.
Before COVID, we were trying to work with the ministry and our private sector partners in the agriculture sector on moving to more high value types of crops, like berries, things that traditionally were moving beyond, let's say, the subsistence economy, smaller plots of land, but trying to get and modernize the agricultural sector, and particularly to focus on those subsectors, as I say, like berries, other types of specialty nuts that would have lucrative markets overseas, particularly in the European Union. The pandemic has forced us to kind of retrench, but not to eliminate that focus. So in the agriculture sector, our focus is now on helping farmers, food producers adopt innovative technologies and practices that can bring higher revenues and increase their access to those markets that I was talking about, particularly in Europe, which we see, and I think the Georgian government sees, as really the primary market target, if you will, for the future. So we work with producers and producer groups to improve their organizational capacity. So what the long-term idea is handing over our USAID kind of agricultural development products and initiatives to those organizations as a focus, as part of our focus on what we call self-reliance. So an example of that is the Georgian Hazelnut Growers Association, or GHGA, which we, the ministry, the National Food Agency, and private sector partners like Ferrero have been working to form over many, many years. And it's finally getting to a point where it's almost able to sustain itself, or at least it's got good prospects for doing that. So
yes, and even draw more FDI, because now we hear that Kamil Bloch is also interested in this hazelnut market in Georgia, and it's coming to Georgia. So that has that effect as well.
We are looking to use the example and the experience that we've gained in the hazelnut sector and apply that to maybe other sectors, like maybe citrus, which is obviously an interesting sector, particularly out in Western Georgia. Other types of nuts, whether those are kind of pistachios or walnuts or those types of things, which really have, again, excellent potential market opportunities in really high value markets like Europe.
Another program that I want also to touch upon, and it is one of the, to me, it is one of the most important programs that USAID is running. That's economic governance program, where you are helping also with reforms, expertise in these reforms. So which reforms do you think are needed now in the context of COVID-19 and also post-COVID era as well?
So the economic governance program's main objective now is to support those reforms that make Georgia more attractive to international investors and more supportive of local companies. So we want to help Georgia build an economic environment where businesses, workers, families, communities can all thrive. And this is consistent with some of the points I was making earlier. So we have strong partnerships, not just with the Ministry of Economy, but with all the relevant ministries, and also at the local level, with local actors and local authorities to help drive these reforms forward in ways that actually support both good governance principles, but also help expand economic growth so that it touches more Georgians, particularly outside of the major population centers in major cities like Tbilisi, Batumi, et cetera. Recently, as an example, when the pandemic hit, our economic governance team fielded a number of international experts that have helped to assess the economic impact of the pandemic, and also presented a set of very concrete action-oriented policy recommendations for a strong economic recovery. And we've worked very closely with the Prime Minister's office and his chief economic advisors on this. So those recommendations included support for high-value manufacturing, which we've talked about, increased education, which I think we all understand intuitively how and why that's important in the pandemic circumstances, and also private sector-led skills development, meaning we've gone out to private sector companies, to the businesses that actually employ people. And we've asked those companies, what kind of skills do you need to succeed? And what is the system, the Georgian educational system, vocational education system, not producing? So we've tried to basically make this what we call a private sector-led, industry-led skills development program.
Of course, we understand that these reforms need to take time so that they materialize. But what are some of the, maybe some smaller milestones, or some measures, like visible measures, that you would say that yes, this approach from the USAID and this support from the USAID is actually working?
So I think we're looking at a number of things. One is we're looking at the development of capital markets here in the country, and that's something that I think we've worked on to some extent, to a limited extent in the past, and maybe we'll increase our focus in the future, so that the capital markets can really mobilize the funding and the capital that businesses need to start up and succeed. So we're going to look at how much interest and focus the new government, when it's formed, comes in and can actually basically galvanize to really dedicate commitment, political will, and commitment to the growth of capital markets here in the country. The second thing that we're going to be looking at is the attraction of foreign direct investment. That's obviously just a huge sign of confidence and interest in an economy when foreign investors, particularly whether they're American or German or British or Turkish, whatever wherever the capital is from, are interested because they see potential, economic potential in the country. So that's something that we're also trying to focus on and help the Georgians, our Georgian counterparts, with direct support, for example, to Enterprise Georgia, which is becoming a really important partner for us. We often talk about reform in the judicial arena as a democratic issue, and of course it is. But the other thing that's important is that a solid, dependable judicial system that foreigners who invest here or want to invest here have confidence in case they have disputes about contracts or things like that. That's an important part of a solid economic system as well. And so what we're trying to see is continued commitment and dedication and further progress on the judicial reform side to really implement the reforms that have been passed by Parliament in the so-called fourth wave of judicial reform, but also so that we can see increased investor confidence here. Those are some of the things that we're looking for.
And just to sum up our conversation, what would be your recommendations, or what would be your needs as well, so that this input that the U.S. people grant Georgian people is actually effective?
A fundamental part of our new strategy is to really deepen the rich partnerships that we have with all aspects of Georgian society, whether that's the government or private sector or civil society. So we're going to continue our efforts there, and we look forward to the seating of a new parliament that hopefully has representation from across Georgian society. And we look forward to the formation of a new government that will help to continue and really deepen the economic recovery plans that the current government has been implementing. So we encourage our Georgian government counterparts to take a really hard look and assess the impact of what they've already spent and what they've already done to respond to COVID, and to identify the programs that work and those that did not. And that's just good governance, and we have confidence that our governmental counterparts will do that, and we know, in fact, they're already doing that because we're helping them do it in a couple of sectors. We're also encouraging our government friends to continue to facilitate investments into productive sectors and activities that can diversify the economy, as I mentioned earlier, and particularly focusing on high-value goods and services, and much wider support for skills development across the spectrum. And the last point I would make is that a more independent, transparent, accountable judiciary, it's the backbone of a functioning, high-functioning economic system. And it's necessary for those local businesses to flourish as well as to attract foreign investment. And that foreign investment is just going to continue to be key to really fuel Georgia's economic recovery next year as we all hopefully come out of this pandemic.
Yes, hopefully. And we've been hearing that last recommendation for many years,
Right.
many years.
We have seen progress. There is work to be done in the rule of law and judicial reform arena, but we did see some progress last year with the passage of the fourth wave, and so that's promising. We want to be positive. We want to be encouraging, and so we do see some progress. There is a lot of work to be done, and the United States is there to assist as our partners need.
Great, thank you for that, and thank you for the interview as well.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure.
We are BMG. Follow and subscribe for business and economics news.
Hey guys, stay tuned, subscribe, and follow us on BMG.